And we're live. Hello and welcome to the Football Podcast for Tuesday, the 27th of October. I'm joined as always by a certain Adam Galau to discuss the hottest stories surrounding the footballing world.
Hello, Theo. It is a pleasure to be here, and without further ado, let us commence this podcast.
Indeed, in today's edition of the Football Podcast, we will be covering Premier League results and some Manchester United transfer news, some transfer news regarding Van de Beek and his move, and whether it was a good move for him, and some Marcus Rashford news about his latest MBE.
However, before we continue, if you are enjoying our content, we would really, really appreciate a like, subscribe, and if you could turn on the notification bell, that would be great for us and for you, so you guys could know every time we post. But without further ado, as Theo said, let us get on to the podcast. We have the Premier League results as we were recording on a pleasant Sunday afternoon, I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken. We did not get the rest of the day's results. Well, maybe, I think it was actually Saturday, sorry. So the final score was Southampton 2, Everton 0, which meant Southampton leapfrogged all the way to 4th place. I'll confirm that right now. Technical difficulties. Southampton only leaped to 7th place. They were on 10 points. That was a mistake there. Then you have Wolves drawing 1-1 with Newcastle, which puts Wolves in 9th place and Newcastle in 14th with 10 and 8 points respectively. Then we had Arsenal 0, Leicester 1, played at the Emirates. Leicester this also getting into the top 4 with 12 points, tied with Aston Villa, although the latter do have a game in hand. Then you have Brighton drawing 1-1 with West Brom. Brighton are not doing too badly. They're in 16th. It's undesirable, but West Brom are nipping at their heels in 17th as they try desperately to avoid being in the drop zone early on. Then you have a team who unfortunately are underperforming with 1 point from 5 games. That's Burnley playing well-oiled Tottenham, who are on 11 points in 5th place, who managed to get a 1-0 win. So yeah, that was the rest of Saturday's and Sunday's games. Are there any that popped out in particular to you from that bunch that you want to analyze, Theo?
Especially Southampton-Everton. So, we did post on Sunday, actually. And they did leapfrog to 4th, but they did drop back into 7th after some other games following that clash at the South Coast. So Southampton went to 4th, then they dropped back into 7th, but really, really good for them. James Ward-Prowse getting a goal in there, 2 assists for Danny Ings. Everton, their unbeaten run is over. Then we have Wolves versus Newcastle. 2 pretty good sides, especially Newcastle, definitely a point to prove after a few signings here and there. Callum Wilson, Jamal Lewis, some pretty impressive signings. And they're doing all right, Newcastle. And they're showing that by drawing with Wolves. Leicester getting a classic smash and grab. The classic away performance, as a famous person once said. And, brilliant stuff. What a lovely, lovely goal. Under providing the assist, the new signing from Roma. So really, really good good business from Leicester. But also an amazing goal by Jamie Vardy, headed in past the stranded Bernd Leno. And then we had Brighton versus West Brom. And then this is also interesting because at this stage in the season, from here on to match day 38 for West Brom, every draw is a win. Avoiding defeat is the best thing they can do, and getting that crucial point as opposed to 0 is going to be really beneficial for them come match day 38. Maybe
Yeah,
end of
it
June, yeah.
is. Yeah, because if you think about it, if I'm just looking back on last seasons, if you were able to at least win one game or two games, I think it was, and win the remaining 36 games, and you just had 2 wins and 36 draws, which of course that's quite unlikely, but you would be able to avoid relegation. So nipping points here and there, along with a couple of smash and grab wins against smaller teams, will be really crucial for the teams avoiding relegation.
Yeah,
But keep on,
definitely.
Theo.
So yeah, again, West Brom obviously they will suffer from greater teams, so they can't get 36 draws. We know that. But definitely every draw will be really important for them. So really good stuff from them drawing against Brighton, and then Burnley. Well, I'm kind of at a loss to explain this. I don't really know why they're losing so badly at this point, at this stage in the season. 6 games in, and they're in the relegation zone after doing so well last season with Nick Pope and Tarkovsky, Ben Mee. Their defense is really where they won. It's really where they're the winners last year, and they're just
Yeah.
conceding, and their attack isn't providing much either. Ashley Barnes, Chris Wood. I'm at a loss to explain what's happening. I think that the best is yet to come from Burnley. Obviously, I mean, it can't get much worse than this. So, but they will come back. I'm certain of it. They're not staying here forever. They're not getting relegated for sure. They're a great team. We predicted them to finish pretty highly, I think. So definitely won't be going down. Adam, any notes before we move on?
Not in particular. I think you ticked all the boxes we were aiming to cover there, Theo. But
Perfect.
that moves us on away from the scores, but staying in the Premier League. With Donny van de Beek, we see it so much with United signings. For me, maybe the only player that has somewhat a big money player that has somewhat evaded this fate. Actually, there's two maybe. Wan-Bissaka and Bruno Fernandes. That's off the top of my head right now. But the vast majority of big signings have absolutely flopped. And Donny van de Beek seems to be heading down the same path, unfortunately, at this rate. I'm just on the BBC page right now, and Patrice Evra and Jamie Carragher were wondering why they even signed him. But apparently Solskjaer says that they will play a very, very big part. So that's to quote him, and he'll say, Donny will be very, very important for us. Don't worry about that. So take that as you will. I think it's quite an unusual one. He hasn't even played much, which is what's confusing. So as I was saying about Patrice Evra and Jamie Carragher, I think they were questioning because Manchester United were already so stacked in the midfield. As we were saying, Pogba, Fernandes, Pogba, Mata, you name it. The midfield is stacked, and so Van de Beek was always going to get limited game time, and so there were questions over to why he was even signed. Theo, what do you think of this situation?
Yeah, interesting one. Man United's business transfer window hasn't really made much sense. I don't really know why they were looking for Sancho. I don't really know why they were looking for Van de Beek at all. The way they've gone about their business has been impressive. The speed in which they signed Van de Beek was impressive. But why? Why? Honestly, seriously, I don't understand it because, like you said, Adam, their midfield is really stacked. Fred, McTominay, Pogba, Fernandez, you name it. Seriously, and a £40 million player should be getting in that team, but for some reason he's not being played. So it's a bit confusing. I don't know what role he'll be playing in this United squad going forward, but we'll have to wait and see. Come the end of the season, can't really leave the team in January. But there will be questions asked of his future if this role in the team continues until the end of the season. So it will be an interesting one. Adam, any further thoughts?
Well, not in particular. I think this is one that we'll really have to wait and see. I think they were somewhat. They were kind of. They're still coming off a high with the success they've had with Bruno Fernandes. He's really been a great player. Wearing the captain's armband just the other day. He's clearly trusted as well, and he's really a key to their attack and his movement. Are really impressive, and so they were expecting similar from Donny van de Beek, a somewhat different player, more defensive, reserved, but they've not got that so far. He hasn't played much, and we'll have to wait and see. But to end on a more positive note, congratulations to Marcus Rashford for receiving an MBE with helping with school meals over the holidays with the coronavirus. What are you thinking of Marcus Rashford's behavior as a big celebrity?
Yeah, really impressive. Also, what do you think? Same as about Black Lives Matter. Really, really impressive what he's doing, and he's using his platform well, really well. Like so many others, Jordan Henderson, I'll pick out. But this one's for him, Rashford. Really, really, really well done. On the Queen's birthday honors list, she turned 94. Aging quite a lot. But she's doing all to live. Marcus Rashford campaigned for the government to allow about 1.3 million free school meals during the coronavirus pandemic during the summer. As we know, for these less fortunate children, obviously with their parents not able to keep them afloat and their livelihoods afloat, with the pandemic at its peak in April, May, June, and then slowly descending in July, and then we're having spikes right now in and around the UK in certain areas. Obviously, that income can't come in, so that's why he was campaigning for free school meals, and really impressive what he's doing, and I think it's good what he's doing as well. Not everybody uses their platform for something as impressive like this, but he's doing it, so all credit to him. Adam?
Well, yeah, as you were saying, he is privileged to be able to have such a loud voice, if you will. Not physically, but he has a huge audience on his various social medias, from Instagram to Twitter. The list goes on. I mean, but so he can really speak out and broadcast his voice in interviews as well. And so I think he's such a role model for so many young kids, and he's using that responsibly, considering his young age, and he could so easily be doing what Mason Greenwood and co are doing and being somewhat immature. Yes, he is a bit older, but it's very easy to fall down the same path as Kyle Walker did during lockdown. But he's being a great role model, and I think that's great on his behalf. Well done, Marcus Rashford. And on that note, we will conclude our podcast. If there are any last words you want to say, Theo?
Yeah, just don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, fast approaching 1,000 views. If we can get to that as soon as possible, that would be amazing. And don't forget to hit that post notifications button so that you are notified when we post, and you can watch it and you can enjoy it. So thank you very much. Bye-bye from Adam.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye, guys. Thank you.